Hello, gorgeous. Today we are speaking about how to heal the masculine energy or how to heal the wounded masculine energy. I know this is one that many of you are always coming to me with, so I'm very excited to dive into this and give you my own advice on how to heal your own wounded masculine energy as a woman. And if you don't know me, my name is Jessica Angeleri, and welcome to my channel where I speak about all things related to sensuality, sexuality, the feminine, and embodiment. And so I'm really excited to dive into this juicy exploration of the sacred masculine or the wounded masculine and how we can heal that so we can start embodying the sacred masculine. And my own definition of the sacred feminine and sacred masculine, it's always changing, it's always shifting as I deepen my own relationship and experience with the feminine consciousness. And as I work with women and as we go into this exploration together. And the one thing that I have always known is that the true nature of the feminine is in deep service of the masculine, and it works both ways. So in today's video, I'm hoping to offer you some helpful frames and additional insights around healing the masculine within you. And when I say healing, I really mean bringing in this alchemy, releasing these old wounded patterns around the masculine, the wounded masculine. So then we can start honoring the feminine consciousness. So often we desire to be less masculine, or we want to heal the masculine within us. And we are looking for all these different ways in how to maybe be less masculine. The thing is, it has to start with the connection and being in devotion to the work of the feminine. This is where it all begins. And not to be a certain way, but to honor the healing, the loving, creative life force energy and qualities of the feminine, the conscious feminine. So every human being has both masculine and feminine energies within. And that's just how we're made up. It's just part of us. Now, if you haven't watched one of my earlier episodes around embracing the feminine and masculine energies, I invite you to watch that, and I'll drop the link of that as well so you can catch the juice of that and what it really means to embody both energies. Most of us have really only been exposed to the masculine way of life, or I should say the hyper masculine way of life. And that is usually honoring this way of doing and not even necessarily honoring the healthy masculine. So we also have to understand that the masculine is a beautiful power to embody. So this is not about dishonoring the masculine energy. We require these beautiful qualities of the masculine, like willingness, integrity, showing up, safety, consciousness, protectiveness. And these are the beautiful, sacred, masculine qualities that we often find in a healthy a man with the healthy or conscious, sacred masculine within him. Now, a lot of my work is around the feminine energy. However, I do always integrate the masculine as well, because for us to create our desired lifestyle that feels balanced and grounded, we need to cultivate a healthy relationship with the conscious masculine. So we have to really hone down and embody this feminine energy within us that feels organic and authentic and real. This is where it all begins. This is how we heal the masculine. It is from this space that we then invite the masculine structure in, for he has his own job, his own responsibility. So when we start to tend to the feminine, we then invite in the willingness and the dedication of the masculine qualities within us. And this is a beautiful dance and weaving of the Shiva and Shakti energies. We are always going to have access right, to both of our masculine and our feminine energies. And the feminine requires you to be in devotion to her. The devotion part is the masculine, showing up for her, knowing that she's never going to be left behind. She needs to know this. She's never going to be forgotten about. And then, therefore, she becomes, if she is forgotten about, this is how we find ourselves being all chaotic and an emotional mess. Instead, we allow these beautiful, creative, intuitive, sensual energies. We allow them to delight us when we have that strong container to hold them, which is the masculine. So it's important to have that duality, to have that union or that harmony. And it's also not about being in perfect balance either. Nothing in life is in perfect balance, but it is about knowing when to move and weave from one energy to energy, depending on what you are doing in your day-to-day life. So it's about having the harmony between the masculine and the feminine, which allows you then to lead from the feminine, which I assume is what you want to do if you're here watching this with me. Now, when I say wounded masculine, this can show up in different ways. For me, it was about perfectionism. And this came up usually from my own childhood woundings of not feeling good enough. Perhaps I never received the love and the support, the loving attention that my little girl really required. And so I took on these unconsciously, I took on these perfectionist ways to become more visible. And this is what defined my own self-worth and my identity. I also feared my own intimacy. I didn't fear the intimacy with others, but I did with myself. So I feared this intimacy. And that showed up in also overgiving to others. When we're not able to be really intimate with ourselves, how is it even possible for us to be deeply, authentically intimate with others? And these are really all manifestations of not accepting ourselves as we really are, as we truly are, our good parts, I was going to say bad parts, but I want to say more of those uncomfortable parts. Maybe these parts of us that we don't generally like about ourselves, and the parts that maybe we are ashamed of. And the thing is, when we truly connect with our inner world, when we begin to unravel the tension which sits in our nervous system because of the things about ourselves that we are ashamed about, that we deny, and that we don't want to heal, we stop being intimate with ourselves. We are afraid to come into this authentic connection with ourselves. And so really becoming intimate with yourself, it has a way of dissolving these tensions and these ways that your body contracts. And in the process, you do come closer to yourself so that you can live as the most radiant experience of your grandest self. And these are some of the things that we explore in my 10-week signature program, Feminine Remembrance, to come home to yourself. And we do that using these beautiful healing modalities of sensuality and pleasure. So maybe for you, the wounded masculine looks like taking on this black and white ways of doing things. And then in that way, you don't really trust yourself. You don't really trust the non-linear, irrational or illogical womb's wisdom, because your womb doesn't speak with logic like the mind does. Maybe the wounded masculine shows up for you in the way that you're over assertive, and thinking the more overly assertive you are, the more you are accepted or taken seriously by others. Maybe you're in competition with yourself and with other women, and you feel that you have to compare yourself or compete with other women to be seen. Maybe it's always, you might find yourself always being busy, really busy. And the more busy you are, the more worthy you are. and the more accepted you are. Maybe you always find yourself constantly in the mind, thinking, overthinking about every detail, and therefore you may ignore the subtle language of the body, the very intuitive language of the body. And so we forget to feel our way into the body as we are constantly trying to think our way through things, trying to work everything out. And this is because we haven't learned how to listen to our intuition, how to trust it, how to fully be present in the body, how to be fully alive in the body. And so we're missing out on this aliveness that I call the erotic innocence. And then with some of these patterns that you fall into, you might feel exhausted or depleted or not feeling energized, or you're not feeling creative. Now, when I'm saying all of this is not to bring shame or judgment. Instead, this is about you just becoming aware of how maybe you are playing into these old ways of doing things and old systems and old conditions that tend to be given to us from when we are a young girl. So our modern society tends to teach us to be in this hyper masculine energy. And it's not usually the masculine that makes us feel stressed and exhausted. It's the lack of connection with the feminine, with the self. So to heal your masculine energy, we breathe love and compassion and new life into him. And this is why we need to start with the work of the feminine. This is why I do everything that I do. Not to just heal the feminine within you, but to bring balance and harmony within your system. Your feminine is this new life. She is this moving, fluid energy. She is the wisdom. She is the love. She is your breath moving in and out, giving you life. And she is here to heal the wounded masculine. And there are so many different practices, so many different things and modalities that we can experiment with and explore. This is why I have so many different offerings around the feminine. My work is infused with the codes of the feminine and guided by the codes of the Magdalene, as well as guided by the traditions of Tantra. So to bring healing and love to not only the feminine consciousness, but to also the masculine consciousness. And then in this way, we're able to bring in this beautiful divine connection between masculine and feminine, to feel their power dancing within us. And I'm here to help you remember this, to help you remember your innate divine feminine so that you can create a life that is fulfilling and pleasurable. And one of the best ways to deepen your connection with the feminine is through embodiment, through sensuality and pleasure. So when you work with the feminine through your body and sensuality, you're connecting with your true self. And it is in this place you understand what you need, what is your expression, what is your truth. You then give space for your inner masculine, the healthy masculine, to step through, and he offers his accountability to show up and move in the direction through action. In this way, you're not just doing for the sake of doing. You're not just doing busy work. You're creating, living, breathing, moving from this space of integrity, of knowing and willingness and consciousness. Your masculine is pure consciousness after all. Also, when I say embodiment, I mean being in the embodiment of your true self, in the remembering of who you are. And this happens only when you allow yourself to drop into the body, into the breath, into the movement, into your sensual being, and to feel safe, to feel this remembrance. And then your remembering starts to become your light, and others start to feel this light and it ripples out as well. And this is actually what heals the men in our lives as well, because you start to invite him into your world, into your space from this place of receptivity and love. So the journey of embodiment is this journey of deep integrity and honesty and understanding of yourself and love and self-care, really honoring the darkness that the feminine is. And in this way, we also get real about our emotions. We offer space for her through our inner sanctuary. We feel and we realize the power in this. I've also done an episode about the dark emotions and why it's important to really integrate your dark emotions. When you get real about these emotions, no one then can shame you. No one can tell you that you're crazy. You stand true to yourself. You know these emotions are not going to shake you because you know how to alchemize them, transmute them, move them through your body. And in this way, we come into this greater love and acceptance for ourselves. And here is where you start to see the inner masculine steps forward in his bigger purpose. The integrity part, standing true to your heart's intentions rather than shaming your emotions or seeing them as weak. The hypermasculine world hasn't taught us how to honor these emotions. Instead, it's taught us how to avoid, to distract, how to party and drink and numb ourselves and keep us busy, keep ourselves busy. We've been told that our emotions are weak, and therefore the feminine is weak. So whenever there is an emotion, we might go into avoidance with busyness. We might be used to numbing our dark, dense emotions or seeing our inner moon, our bleeding, as something that is to judge or to feel like it's so annoying to have. We don't allow ourselves to feel these intense emotions. So instead of tending to them with so much love and care, we numb them or we shame ourselves. We start to call ourselves names. So it starts to seep into other areas of our lives. And this hypermasculine world really encourage us to doubt ourselves. It's also very easy for us to, when we doubt ourselves, to be disembodied. So all that this means really is that we spend a lot of time in our minds thinking about our lives, thinking about our future, thinking about our past, thinking about what he said, what she said, what I said before. And all of this just disconnects us from our body and our wisdom. And then we also disconnect us from our truth. But when you are embodied and you're really standing true in your heart's intentions, no matter what is happening around you, you know how to set those boundaries and you know how to stay focused and stay really aligned with what is true for you. But we're taught that we're not capable of holding the emotions and the pain. We are taught that we as women are too tender and that we're too fragile. And so that means we can't hold this pain. Well, that's what we've been taught anyway. So we have to come into strengthening the feminine to shift these stories and programs. It starts with you. And then in this way, we have more reverence around our softness. And at the same time, through this softness, we know we are resilient. Rather than soldering on and getting things done, and then in that we forget about this juice that is wanting to be known through you. And in this reverence and in this beautiful love and acceptance for the feminine, from this space, the masculine within you starts to heal and he comes forward. He desires to stand stronger, taller, more in his worth. Nothing is going to shake him. He has been given the role by you to host these emotions, to be your inner king. But it's so important to bring in pleasure into our lives, to help us remember what it means to live from the space of the feminine first. So the king stands strongly behind your inner queen. So to be your own queen, you begin your day with something that energizes your pleasure body. Activate the sensuality within you. And I'm here to help you do that, sister. You can do this through your womb and connection with your yoni, through the connection with your skin and your breath, and just talking to your yoni, talking to your womb. Just really connecting with this life force energy through your movement. And then you know you're being in integrity to the queen that desires big. And she has so many beautiful, inspiring ideas that come from her heart and womb. As the sovereign goddess that you are, it is your responsibility to utilize the feminine and masculine energies on a regular basis, as well as knowing when it is time to be in your feminine and when it's time to be in your masculine. These two energies coexist. They are inseparable. They can't exist without each other. The man, the masculine, he leads, but he leads when he has this beautiful, intuitive, emotional, creative energy to guide him. This is required. In that way, he serves from the space of love. So, in order to heal your inner masculine, so your masculine energy of consciousness starts to thrive, we have to start and tend to the feminine energy. And believe me, she will bring love and beauty and purpose into his life, into your life. And then you have no choice other than to use your masculine in the most healthy, conscious ways. And that is to provide, to be in integrity, to be willing, to not be afraid of what's there, to choose confidence and courage, to stand strong with your sword, to cut through the bullshit and really use that sword to guide and make space for your feminine to thrive. So she feels safe to thrive within you. And in this way, this is how you step it up as a woman and you start to be magnetic in your queen codes. Thank you, beautiful, for being here. And I hope this landed with you. And let me know what really resonated with you in this episode today, in this talk. Let me know in the comments. And if you love this episode, please do like it. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, put that notification bell on so you stay updated to my upcoming episodes that I'm always releasing. And if you haven't subscribed to my 7-day free program, Erotic Feminine Embodiment, which is filled with beautiful, loving practices, pleasure practices to help you deeply connect with your feminine energy, I invite you to do so as well. I'll drop the links below in the description, and I will see you again very soon, gorgeous. My name is Jessica Angelari. Thank you so much. Mwah.